Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our second and final live stream of today. Microsoft Flight Simulator in the Stearman 75 biplane in Rio de Janeiro. So we're going to take off from this small little field. Essentially, it's pretty much a dirt grass field or whatever. We're going to climb out, or we're going to take off and climb over this way, or kind of head over this way over into the entry into Rio de Janeiro, see the Sugarloaf Mountain, Christ the Redeemer, and just kind of tour around a little bit. Just have some fun, just kind of swing around here and see some sights. And then we'll call in for landing over here at Santos Dumont Airport. And we'll wrap this up. So let's go in and change the weather. We don't want thunderstorms while we're flying around beautiful Rio de Janeiro. Of course, Rio is very famous for hosting Carnival. I'm sure there's plenty of the videos and whatnot that you can find on the internet that shows what Carnival is all about. So I do recommend, if you're interested in that, do check that out. Do your own research, I guess. All right, so here we are. Rinky-dink little field now. Let's see, we want to turn off the weather. So we have a nice, relaxing flight. Let's make sure our... Okay. So just real quick, we'll look outside. Look at this. This is a cool little plane. You got the big, we'll zoom in here. We'll kind of just show you a little bit about the plane up close and personal. Look at that. So I picked this really cool livery for the plane. It's called the Old Crow livery. So this is a two-seater. This did serve during World War I, or it was used for a trainer for quite a while for... So, and then it became, you know, people bought it up in the civilian market and turned it into their own little crop dusting or whatever. So, now the other thing is I put in the description the biplanes, we don't have any flaps. We only have our control surfaces, you know, our tail and all that stuff. There's no flaps to help slow the plane down essentially on landing for sure. So that in itself is a bit of an issue, I guess. But we're going to have to be very careful with our approach speed. We're going to try to slow down over the runway a bit, kind of float, and then we'll eventually settle down and all that. So let's go ahead and get back here. I just figured I'd give you a quick look around the plane. All right, let's go ahead. We can minimize this. Get the brakes off, and let's get in the air. And there we go. Away we go. Of course, it's going to be loud in here. There is no overhead enclosure for the plane, unfortunately. So we're just going to kind of trim back here a little bit and just have a steady climb.
Brasilia Center Old Crow 237 is type 1 miles south of Sierra Bravo November Yankee 600 feet.
There's our
Request
airport behind us, our little
airspace.
field.
Old
And
Crow
then the crusty
237
salute.
Brasilia Center. Squawk Tree 354.
Squawk Tree 354 Old Crow 237.
Old Crow 237 radar contact 2 miles south of Sierra Bravo November Yankee 1,000 feet. Cleared through the Charlie airspace.
Cleared through the Charlie airspace Old Crow 237.
Alright, there's the Rio de Janeiro. I guess it's like a bay, kind of. And we're gonna kind of make our way towards that. Hello again. No crop dusting. No, we're gonna have a good, nice little chilled flight here in the Stearman. I was thinking, man, you know, we've had some decent slow little planes, I guess. And, you know, I wanted to try to do something different for the flight today, and I thought this would be a really cool, sort of fun thing. Hello again, Amela. If I didn't say it already, I think I did, but I'll say it again just to be safe. Now, one of the things I think on this, maybe I'm thinking of a different one. Anyway, I might be thinking of a different plane. Never mind. It is fairly easy to start up. There's not a lot to it, but yeah, it is. Look at that. So a little bit of bygone era of aviation. So I thought this would be kind of a cool, fun plane to do the flying tour today. You know, it's open cockpit. We can have a really good look around here. You know, look very clearly back to the. Now, I didn't know this. Oh, don't worry about it, Mella. That's fine. You don't have to apologize. It's all good. I think Mick will against you, though. Anyway, so I didn't know this, but the tail section of a plane is called an empennage. So, according to what I read about this plane, the Stearman 75, I think it's the Stearman 75. Let me look. Yeah, Stearman 75. So yeah, it's called an empennage is the term for that. So they say it has a traditional empennage, how it's laid out. I didn't know that, so I learned something new, kind of researching this plane a little bit. So there we go. Yeah, I figured this would be a fun little, something different. But yeah, I've done it. I was able to start it up, no problem. Now I don't know what. Let's see. Does the smoke? Oh, the smoke works even. Look at that. If we were going to do loop-de-loos and whatnot, we'd have the smoke going to kind of have some fun with that. All right, we are way higher than I wanted to be at this point. I wanted to be a little bit lower so we could see the sights. That's the important part. But downfield climbing. Now the cool thing is our pilot is decked out in traditional biplane sort of flying attire, it looks like. Although I would think that you would want to make sure that your headphones and yeah, you were very much missed, Mick, in the chat. Whether it's my chat, Pulse's chat, you are a staple of cheer. When that's not there, a lot of people get concerned. Not gonna lie. So, no. I even thought Pulse and Vex had broke you. I even asked him, like, did you guys break them or something? What's happened? Oh, yeah. You are well liked, sir. So. You are always missed, I can assure you. Now there is another version of this plane, kind of, that comes with the big radial engine in the front has a cover over it. But I just thought this would be a really cool thing to have that big radial engine out there, out front, plain view for us to see. Oh, yeah, just enjoy a nice flight around Rio. Yeah, I'm just speaking from the heart, my friend. You are a very positive person, generally. Although FIFA, I think, gets you to the point where positivity goes right out the door. But yeah, you are a welcome sight in my chat anytime. Yeah, I did. It was like a day or two ago. I was in Pulse's stream, and I was like, I asked him, I said, "Did you guys break Mick or something? What'd you do to him?" So, I was ready to blame Vex anyway. You know, especially after the sunburn scandal, as I like to call it. I don't think she appreciates that joke much anymore. If I had the time, I would make a short video about the. You know, Amilla, I still think you and Chris are going to be going at it there in ETS and ATS. I think you're going to try to outdo each other, who can destroy each other's truck the most, in the most fascinating way possible. You know? Yeah, you guys are, I think, going to go a bit over the top. Now here's a question, and forgive my ignorance here, because I don't know quite sometimes how the whole thing works for ATS or ETS. So let's say, there's like the better internet. Well, that's a good thing. Better internet is always a good thing. So let's say Mick, you, Pulse, Chris, and Amella are in a convoy, and Amella and Chris are going at it, and basically destroying each other. Does that have an impact on the overall money being made, or is that like, even though you're in a convoy, it's the money made is for the individual driver? So that if they were kind of getting goofy, that you and Pulse wouldn't be losing money necessarily, unless they collected you up in the shenanigans at the same time, which hopefully they don't. But I'm not sure. I think you've told me this before, but I'm not 100% sure how it's supposed to work. Because then if you're not losing any money, then I'd say, well, then Chris and Abella are free to have at it. See who can cause the most damage. But if it affects the entire... that's something I'm surprised they didn't implement in the multiplayer system. Yeah, I know that. Yeah. Definitely. It's okay. So they're free to destroy each other. So they'll lose money, essentially. But yeah, I'm surprised that they didn't, to encourage maybe a bit better driving behavior, that they would, say, well, if you act up like this, then everybody gets penalized. So the convoy leader would try to keep things under control, I guess, or maybe more so, well, obviously in the video game element of it, because you don't want to be losing money, because obviously the goal is to make some money. But like some of the times that Pulse is wrecked and the amount of that cost for the damage repairs, it's somewhat reasonable, but it's also a bit it starts to add up. So just I wasn't sure. This is Pulse's convoy. He has the magic. Oh yeah, okay. Well, I figured that was the case, but financially, in the system, I'm just allergic to driving properly. Well, I think a lot of people in New York City are allergic to driving properly, Abella. Not gonna lie. The few days I drove in New York City, I'm like, nah, never again. Oh, it was terrible. Terrible. But yeah, of course, Pulse has the kick button. Well, I guess things would have to be really bad before he kicked anybody from the convoy. Now, I don't know where this name came from. Sugarloaf Mountain. Interesting. Interesting. The way it sits. Certainly very interesting sort of thing. This little area here of Rio de Janeiro. Lots of pictures of Christ the Redeemer. I'm sure there's tons of them out there. We'll zip by, but we certainly will not get the. Just need to keep your eyes on the road and not the fridge. That is true too, Bella. You need to stash your snacks right there by the computer, so you're not looking constantly back at the at the refrigerator to make sure that it's still there, and you know, your beef patties haven't been messed with. Oh man. Or your chicken or whatever. Yeah, oh man, it was insane. And the worst part is, it's not like they're just driving normal sized cars. You get those people in the big GMC SUVs and whatnot, the Cadillac Esplanades or whatever. It's just insane how they just, you know, they almost run people right onto the sidewalk a lot of times, it seems. I'm honestly surprised there isn't more episodes of road rage in New York City, the way people drive. It was called Sugarloaf Mountain, Nick. That one right there. I'm guessing maybe it was like part of a volcanic sort of situation, maybe when this part of the world was being formed and whatnot. Yeah, very strange, but so there you can kind of see it there off the right side, off the starboard wing, upper starboard wing. Yeah, very iconic statue here in Rio. I think you can go all the way up there to stand by it. I think I guess it's almost like a pilgrimage sort of thing that people go there, make an annual trip to Christ the Redeemer. But yeah, it seems like maybe that's like like as the volcanoes cooled and all that, it kind of formed that way, and just over the years, maybe with the wind and all that, it just shaped it. Possibly, I don't know. I'm just kind of guessing. I could be completely wrong on that, but I mean, even out there's like small little islands, and there's that big rock right there sticking out. So I kind of feel like that there was maybe a lot of volcanic activity last year. No, kidding. You know, when the continents were being formed and whatnot. But I could be completely wrong. That's just my guess. Is this like maybe a dirt track, go-kart track or something? It's not a road course, but it's got, I don't know what that is, but it looks pretty cool. They finally bled off some altitude. Hopefully we can kind of stabilize right around this neck of the woods of altitude, so we have a good view. Yeah, I had that sense, Amila, that the way people drove, if they did hit somebody, they wouldn't even stop to exchange information. It'd be kind of like, oh, well, I'm out of here, you know. And I wonder, Amila, if that's a lot of people just aren't driving, or driving without insurance, and they just don't care. You know, they try to get away quickly before somebody gets their, you know, license plate information and all that, because if that happens, of course, you're going to get found out, and then you're going to be that's going to be a whole nother issue that you're going to have to contend with. But yeah, it's I mean, I thought driving in San Francisco was bad, but New York City was by far the craziest place I think I've ever driven in my life. And I thought driving even on the Autobahn was crazy. And that was generally in a military vehicle, which cannot go as fast as the Mercedes or BMWs or Porsches going by you. But yeah, man, I'm really surprised that it's not worse, as far as the road rage goes. But I have a feeling like a lot of people who do, cut people off and all that, like they're already either they've got a weapon or of some kind, whether it's a pistol or a bat or a tire, like they're ready to throw down. Like even though they're in the wrong, they're ready to beat somebody up over it, which I find that's just insane. That they cause that problem and then they get violent because they're the ones that caused it. I don't quite understand that mindset either, but it is what it is. It's insane though that people act that way. Next thing you know, everybody's strapped and ready to start a gunfight in the streets over a simple traffic disagreement. So yeah, look at this big cathedral. When I kind of did a quick flight around here just to kind of check it out before and get a feel for this plane in general. And that's just, look at the design of this cathedral. It's like so non-traditional, it seems. It's just but it stands out because it's not traditional. Very interesting. So here's Rio de Janeiro proper. Now, of course, for those of you who, my father even came across a youngster who rammed in the back of my dad's car, and the young guy in the early started crying because my dad wanted to exchange info. And well, because they're well, even for a young driver, if that's like their first accident, or certainly somebody that age might be under the insurance of their parents still. And when that happens, they know, mom and dad are going to throw a fit about it, and they're going to get the lecture and all that. And even though they were careful and they make mistakes, instead of just saying, my bad and I screwed up, and people get like very nervous now, like, oh, there's going to be police involved and all these questions and yada yada yada, and it's just, And part of it, too, is how the person who was affected by the accident approaches the person who, I think that's another thing as well. If both parties are kind of calm, or at least one person is calm and say, look, let's just exchange information. I'm not trying to screw you over or anything. It's just the proper thing to do. I'd rather avoid getting, if we have to get the police involved, then so be it, to take down an accident report for the insurance purposes, But, Popo again, talking about police. Something's not right here in the neighborhood. They were here last night. 2 cars were here last night. Now just one just came rolling through. So something's going on. But anyway, my dad let him off because he knows how young kids are. And the guy had no license. Oh, yeah. And see, that's the bad thing, too, because now your dad has to pay for the repairs himself. And that's not fair to him, but yeah, people get nervous. They know that they're not supposed to be doing those sorts of things, but they do it because they're like, well, if I'm careful and I can get away with it, what harm is it? Instead of saying, well, it's the wrong thing, and I don't know. It's just insane, but that's not fair to your dad. There's no telling how many times that kid's done that to other people. But now your dad's on the hook for getting his vehicle repaired, which is unfortunate. And that's why I think you see overall the cost of insurance is going up, because you have a lot of people who are purposely driving without documentation, causing an accident, and then, you know, well, sorry, I don't have any insurance or whatever, so how are you going to take it? Well, I don't even have any money, so I don't know what to tell you. You can't even sue me because you're not going to get anything out of me. You know, that's the sad part, I think. But yeah, I never want to drive in New York City again. It's just the stress of it was just yeah, it was a lot. But yeah, I'm curious to see how you and Chris get along in the trucking sim there, Mella. How many wrecks are you going to cause between the two of you? I'm just curious to see how many times Pulse and Mick get collected up in it. Well, see, the other thing too is I'm just thinking, if neither one of you are streaming at the same time, nobody's ever going to see those epic accidents either. So we're only going to hear about it over the radio. I could already hear Chris. Abella, what do you like? Why'd you run into me like that? What was I doing? I was just minding my own business. Oh, boy. So the cool thing about this plane is it's made by the same folks who designed the F-15 and the F-14. So they did something a little bit different. I think they were working on this as a side project while they were still working on the F-15. So yeah, very cool. To band on about my driving, but his isn't any better. Yeah, that's true. Because I notice what he'll do is he'll drop behind a bit, and then eventually he likes to do that crazy flyby, and he'll catch Mick out or Pulse and go blazing by, and then somehow, some way, either he'll keep control of the truck and be fine, but somehow, even with all that, Mick or Pulse gets caught up in some kind of accident. Either he's clipping a car, and then it causes a chain reaction, or he's it's just yeah, it really is. I'm really happy with this. I mean, I was a bit leery about flying a biplane, even though we have them in the game, but I was just like, it seems like it'd be a real handful. It's not so bad. It's kind of like the Spitfire in a way, where the once you kind of get to grips with it, it's like very easy to fly. You know, it's not such a bad deal. But I think that just like with the Spitfire, it's the landing that can be a bit difficult to contend with. You know, coming in just at the right speed and everything. I think that's the key. But you know, again, it's one of those planes that if you fly with it enough, and some people they love flying in a biplane because it's very basic. You know, there is no, like I said before, there's no flaps to help you slow down for the landing. You just have to kind of, it's literally, I guess, by the seat of your pants, you know, which is how pilots flew back in the day. There wasn't, you know, they didn't really have maybe a complete gauge set like this. It might have been an altimeter and an RPM gauge, and maybe your oil pressure, maybe if you were lucky, a fuel gauge, But yeah, generally, it's, you know, it's very basic. You know, or as they call it, well, it's all analog. The only thing that's digital, I think, is this inclusion of the radio and the transponder. But generally, you know, yeah, he does, and I know it's, you know, he has a good laugh, and of course, Bex loves the crazy flybys that Chris does there on you or Pulse. But yeah, it is supposed to be relaxing. But yeah, that adds, in a way, it adds a different stress element too, because you have to watch out for the crazy AI drivers on the road with, you know, the trucks or buses or cars or whatever, because they act up rather unexpectedly. So yeah, it's very, yeah, that just kind of makes things a bit crazier. But I know it's all a good laugh too. But yeah, it's well, I'm curious to see how it plays out with kind of like we're standing up here, even though we're not. But look at that, we got a little bit of a higher view out of the, look at that, which I think pilots probably did back in the day in a plane like this, just to get an idea, kind of look ahead a bit if they could, without so yeah. So yeah, I'm glad I figured this would be a good place to introduce this plane, or as part of our Sunday scenic tour sort of stuff. I've never been to Rio. I would like to go once, just to say that I've been. Never been to Brazil. Farthest south I've ever been is Panama. Well, farthest south in the, well, Central America. That's the farthest south I've been. I've never been to South America, but Central America is the farthest south I've been in the American continents, I guess. But I think that might still be the, yeah, I think that is still the farthest south I've ever been. I'd have to look between Panama and Iraq, which one is farther south. I think Panama is closer to the equator, so it should be the farthest south. We're just kind of cruising around the bay here, just enjoy the scenery. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it though, either way, you being in there, Miller. I think it's going to be fun. Added something a little bit different to the stream. So, coming up tomorrow, we have the pit. Speaking of a biplane, we are going to continue with the biplanes, actually. The Pitts S2S, Mount Gambier to Narromine, which I believe is over in Australia. Tuesday, we have the DA-40NG going from Bekar to Casablanca. No, actually, that's wrong. It's a different airport. That was the wrong airport. But anyway, Wednesday's flight, the 22nd, that will be a little bit later than normal. I got a morning appointment. And so I will, as soon as I get back, I will go flying as soon as I get back home. That should be a good little flight in the DA-62. We're going from Ottawa to Bar Harbor. The DA-62 as we continue our journey of flying at least 300 miles in the standard aircraft. You're welcome, Bella. It'd be nice to have a additional person in the trucking stream, I think, for Mick. I can't speak for Mick, but as a viewer, I know it would be nice to have an additional person. All that, so, yeah. Yeah, the startup on this plane, too, is not very difficult. It's, once you know, kind of, if you remember basically starting up any general prop plane, you hit all the bits and bobs and make sure that certain things are done, and yeah, it starts up very easily. So, a lot of fun. It's over there. It's crazy how quieter it is out here compared to in here. You'd think it'd be the opposite. Hey, Daniel, over in the Posh channel. Nice to see you there. Help yourself to stroop waffles and latte if you want, over there in the Posh channel. Nice to see you. We're just having a lovely flight here in Rio de Janeiro. We've been flying around basically the bay, I guess. So, Antonio, I think that is a famous, let's take a look. I'm off downstairs for my Sunday roast. Okay, take care. So Antonio Carlos Yolom. Okay, yeah. Brazilian composer, pianist, songwriter, arranger, and singer, considered one of the greatest exponents of Brazilian music. Jolom internationalized bossa nova, and with the help of important American artists, merged it with jazz in the 1960s to create a new sound with popular success. Antonio Carlos Jolom. I think I'm pronouncing that correct. Died in 1994. Oh, interesting. So yeah, I figured that's who the airport was named after. Yeah, very famous. Him, Stan Getz, I think Astrid Gilberto, her husband at the time, João Gilberto. Yeah, they were all instrumental in the whole bossa nova thing in the 60s, which a style of music I really enjoy. Got nice beats, even though I might not understand the words because it's sung in Portuguese, because that's the language that's spoken here in Brazil. I think it's almost like their own, I don't know if it's like a different dialect of Portuguese or if it's the same as what you would find in Portugal. But yeah, there you go, a little bit of history lesson for today. About the area. Of course, the famous Astrid Gilberto song, "The Girl from Ipanema," which I think her husband wrote that song. And he started off with the vocals, and then she chimed in after kind of like the intro part of the song or something. Yeah. Enjoy that music. definitely. Oh, now he's here in the non-posh channel. He's joined the commoners. Over the non-posh side of the street. Yeah. Go ahead and turn here and kind of circle around. We'll make our way back towards Santos Dumont Airport. We'll make our way there and request clearance to land and get our approach, or not our approach necessarily, but our pattern entry. We'll go ahead and get that all set up and hopefully bring this thing in for a nice smooth landing. Denial. Oh boy. That's a new one. Noah. I got 5 viewers over on Twitch. Thank you all for coming in and hanging out. Do say hello if you want to. We're just having a nice flight here around Rio de Janeiro. Flying for a bit now, so we will get ready to land and wrap this stream up for the day. Hopefully everybody's has a nice relaxing Sunday. Hope you enjoy your roast, Daniel. So that's stuff. Hopefully everybody has a good day today. Take time out to relax. Spend time with family and friends if you can. Even if they annoy you. It's just tough love, that's all. Sometimes you just gotta be happy that at least you're getting the tough love. Nice view out the back there. Very windy up here. The wind noise is a bit louder. It's amazing. Out here it's like quiet. You just hear the engine, that's it. Yeah, very strange. But in here, I had fish and chips yesterday with plantain. Oh, nice. I do think that the plantains generally do kind of get mixed up in the ooh, roast pork. Ooh, yummy. Very good, Daniel. Mm-hmm. That sounds lovely. Yeah, I think the plantains do generally get lumped in with the banana family. Was my family tough love? I guess sometimes, yeah. I think that's normal for kids. Parents. Like I remember, I wanted to go bike riding at night with my friends, and my mom was like, "No, you're not going to go out." Like, but why not? They're going. Well, just because they're going doesn't mean you're going to go. But she tried to explain it that it was more, of course I didn't understand at the time that she was more concerned for my safety than anything else. But, when you're a kid, you don't see or understand that mindset that, they're doing it because they care about you. Not that they, not to say they don't care about people in general, but you are their responsibility. So, yeah, they let's go ahead and see if we can get... Yeah, there it is. Well, actually, you know what? We're going to land at the big airport. Screw it.
Rio Tower Old Crow 237 is 11 miles east, 2,900 feet with uniform to land.
Old Crow 237 Rio Tower. Altimeter 29er decimal 9er to wind 29er tree and tree.
28, straight
Make
in.
straight in runway 28.
Nice.
Make straight in runway 28 Old Crow 237.
I like it. Alright, let's make sure we turn on our direction information.
Brasilia Center Old Crow 237 is type 90 miles northeast of Rio, 2,900 feet. Request clearance to
call it in
transition
again.
Charlie airspace.
Old Crow 237.
Yeah, I know, Miller.
Squawk 517 tree Old Crow 237.
Old Crow 237 radar contact 9 miles northeast of Rio, 2,900 feet. Cleared through the Charlie airspace.
Alright.
Cleared through the Charlie airspace Old Crow 237. Rio Tower Old Crow 237 is 9 miles east, 2,900 feet with uniform to land.
Old Crow 237 Rio Tower. Altimeter 29er decimal 9er to wind 29er tree at tree. Make straight in runway 28.
Fly straight in runway 28 Old Crow 237.
Oh, it's Rio. Oh, that's not too bad of a... Oh, we'll just go ahead and land here. This should be a very long runway. Yeah, it's just... Well, you know, you don't realize it at the time. Oh, you're talking about the plantain. I thought you were talking about the tough love thing. But it's still, I think, too, you don't realize at the time what your parents are trying to do. Because you think that, of course, that everything is some sort of conspiracy against you living a fun life. I mean, I guess that was the toughest love, but you know, sometimes tough love is necessary. You know, a true friend is going to, or even a true family member is going to call you on your nonsense and try to hold you accountable for your shenanigans. Here we go. So we'll have a definitely, that should be a very long runway for us to kind of make sure we are yeah, but you know, but I think too, like I thought it would be, you know, like my riding bikes with my friends late at night, which, you know, in retrospect wasn't a very safe idea, because, you know, if you're not well, you know, you're wearing enough bright enough clothing that people can see you and that would avoid you being hit, you know, but you think, oh, what's the big deal? Now, maybe I could have said, well, I understand, you know, why you don't want me to go, but if I wear like a reflective vest and I have a bike light and everything, could I go then? Because maybe then at least I minimize the risk of being hit. But of course, when you're a kid, you don't understand minimizing risks. You just think that it's this big conspiracy to keep you from enjoying life. So here we go. Just have a nice, gentle ride through the glide slope here. Yeah, it wasn't until much later that I realized that's what basically what my mom was saying without explaining it in greater detail. But I also think that the kids who were my friends at the time, obviously their parents couldn't be bothered to care enough to say no to them riding around late at night. In a way, you feel bad for them because they didn't have somebody who said, no, you need to stay inside, it's too dangerous or whatever. But, I don't know. Anyways, all philosophical and stuff in here. But see, if it had been my brother would have still found a way to get out the house and go do it anyway. I guess that's the glaring difference between him and I.
All Crow 237, follow the aircraft on final. Wind 29er, tree at tree.
Aircraft on final? We don't have any live aircraft.
Cleared to land runway 28 Old Crow 237.
We shouldn't have any live aircraft. Why would there be aircraft on the final ahead of us? Oh man, I'm landing it. I don't care. I thought I had the live traffic off, so we wouldn't have this problem. Well, maybe there's a glitch or something. Because I've not seen any other aircraft flying around all day. Because if that had been the case, we would have been hearing nonstop ATC traffic, especially here near the bigger airport. So I'm not 100% sure that that's the. That what they're saying is in fact true about the. Although this is certainly a way bigger airport than would be necessary for a plane like this size to land at. But I wanted to see if my theory is correct that if we kind of just flare up and let the speed bleed off once we're over the runway and I cut the throttle, then we'll have a much better landing. So that's the theory. Let's see if theory turns out to be true. It seems very difficult to stay lined up. I don't know if this is me or what.
All Crow 237, go around.
No, I'm not going around. There's no plane there, you numpty. I'm landing. Nope. We are on final. We're going to land this thing. Sorry, but no.
All Crow 237, did you copy?
Nope. I'm ignoring your silliness. There is nobody here.
All Crow 237, acknowledge last transmission.
Nope. There we go. That's how you do that. There it is. Ta-da!
All Crow 237, you were not cleared to land. Clear the runway.
Yeah. There was no other traffic. I think that was just a glitch, so that's alright. So that's how you do it. That's the key, I think, and that's what we have to kind of apply
All
to
Crow
the...
237 ATC services terminated. Good day.
Wow. Okay, well. That was a bit severe. They were like, screw you, buddy. You're on your own. Oh, thank you, Mick. Even though we weren't supposed to land, we could have gone around, but yeah. That's odd because I know I have the live traffic off, so I don't know how it said we had traffic in front of us. So I'm just going to take that as a glitch and all that, so... Yeah, I think that's the key, kind of what we have to do even with the Spitfire. We have to, the longer the runway, the better it will be, I guess, in a way, because then we can have a nice, we have enough time to kind of flare up and bleed off more of that speed before we land. So, I'm going to pull over there. And we'll stop because I think there's like a ground crew over there. I don't know. Can I call ground, or am I screwed? Oh.
Real ground, Old Crow 237 taxi to parking.
Old Crow 237 taxi to general aviation parking.
Oh, my
Taxi to
co-pilot
fuel Old
stopped
Crow
talking.
237.
Oh. What happened to my... Where's the thing at? That's odd. Hold on a second. Let's... That is really strange. Well, all right.
Real ground, Old Crow 237 taxi to parking.
Old Crow 237 taxi to general aviation parking.
It's still not giving me a marker. Oh well. That's what happens when you don't follow instructions. They just ignore you now. But I think we could park over there by those little...
Taxi to fuel Old Crow 237.
We'll just go over here. I think that's the best. Best option here. Yeah, I'm really happy with that landing, actually, Mick. That worked out quite well. We'll just park it right here. Not like a legit parking spot, but we didn't do everything legit today, but that's okay. It was a lovely flight, despite the fact. we just got to turn the right there, battery. There we go. Ta-da. All right. There we are, 57-minute flight. We did get credit for landing even though we disobeyed orders, quote-unquote orders. That will be it for today, folks. I greatly appreciate everybody coming in. Let me just double-check something here. Okay. And hanging out today. Hopefully you enjoyed the flight. We will be back tomorrow, 6:30 Eastern, 11:30 UK time in the Pitts S2S. We will be in Australia. Yeah, it really is, Mick. It's not that bad. It's kind of like I was saying before, like the Spitfire. Once you kind of get to grips with it, then it's not so bad. It's just you got to get comfortable with it, and once you do, it's like, you know. And even the landing, I wasn't sure that it was going to go as well as it did, but I kind of had an idea in my mind, and that's why it was good. We had a long enough runway where we just flared enough to bleed off that speed right above the runway and then set down nice and easy. And then we weren't like going, you know, one way or the other because of all the torque, which when I did the test flight in this around here, when I landed at the other airport, that's exactly what happened. So, yeah, really good stuff. So anyway, I do appreciate everybody coming in. We'll be back tomorrow in another biplane, the Pitts S2S in Australia. Should be a good one. So do tune in for that if you can. I will see you all later. Do enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Peace. Live long and prosper.